everyone's watching this meeting. What is your call? I know you've got a 50-50 call, but what does this mean for the dollar?
I think that would be bullish dollar. I mean, I think if they taper, still the reflex will be to buy the dollar against G10. Yeah, 50-50. I think the market's not quite there on 50-50, so I suspect we're a little bit more, if you like, hawkish than the market, and that's why I think ultimately it comes down to being slightly dollar bullish, but not with the kind of trauma that we had, you know, May to September. The market seems to have kind of been more relaxed about the prospect that things are about to change.
And of course, they've been conditioned as well, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah. And then, you know, one of the complications, unfortunately, we have this week is they can do a taper, but what else do they do? You know, do they inflation thresholds, unemployment? There's so many other kind of parts of this mix that we don't have any clarity on.
Let's talk about the yen and Aussie now, because they're still underdogs. Aussie off that weak Chinese number. What are your calls for Q1 for Aussie dollar and the yen?
I still think Aussie lower, but only marginally. We've seen a big adjustment already in Aussie, but you know, we will struggle if this China growth story. We think, frankly, China growth will stabilise around this level. That will be part of the equation. The taper also will be a bit of a headwind to Aussie gains. Of course, you got the RBA still trying to talk it lower. So a few factors, but we've already had a big adjustment, so not too much more. The yen, actually a sideways call, short term, maybe slightly higher by the end of the first quarter, if that's your time frame, because the BOJ may be thinking about easing at that point. But on a kind of a couple of weeks view, I think dollar yen actually has gone a little bit too high and should retrace.
Now, we've also had Ireland exiting the bailout at the weekend. It's the first Eurozone country to do so, and Ireland's Prime Minister says there's still a lot of work to do.
Our lives won't change overnight, but it does send out a powerful signal internationally that Ireland is fighting back. Now is not the time to change our course or direction. While the bailout is over, we must approach the future with that same clarity and decisiveness.
Some have said that, you know, this is the first step of the Eurozone out of its crisis, but does it actually change anything?
Not on a day-to-day basis, not in terms of the absolute level of the euro, but it means we can stop having those conversations about, is the euro going to break up, is austerity work, you know, all these kind of ones that we talked about incessantly in 2012 haven't featured in 2013, and Ireland is part of the reason why, because it can be portrayed as a success story and austerity exiting. All of that equation is now played out, but in terms of spot trading, no, everyone's FOMC, not everyone's looking at Enda Kenny, unfortunately.